Everyone, this is Arcadius and welcome back to Naval. Today we'll be reviewing one of the newest tech tree ships for the Japanese battleship line, and that is Hiraga. Now, her actual name in game is Izumi, but I have changed her name to Hiraga. That is how you will see it from now on. And this is actually a very fun little ship. When we were first getting information about these ships, I wasn't too impressed with what I saw, but I have played quite a number of games in her, and I am actually quite pleased with the way that she is. She's not overpowered, yet she's not exactly weak either. She's a very nice balance, and she has a very specific play style that you will see quite soon that works best for her. So before that, let's take a look at her stats. We have 82,400 health with a 26% torpedo damage resistance. We have belt armor of 381 millimeters, which is about 15 inches. And then we have a maximum of 560 millimeters of armor, looks like on the turret faces. This ship is quite easy to citadel on the broadside, so do keep that in mind. She's just like a normal Yamato. Nothing really special about her armor. There is, however, one point of interest, and is that she actually has casemate guns. She kind of reverts back to the casemates of the earlier dreadnoughts, and as we all know, the casemates are a good shell trap. So if you aim for the upper belt here, you're definitely going to get some strong penetration damages. So that is one major weakness of the ship. That being said, though, she is quite small for her size, as you can see. If we compare her to something like Yamato, which is at the same tier as her, you can quite clearly see the size difference here. So her small size is kind of part of her armor as well. It's a lot harder to hit her at range, and that does become quite apparent in battle as well. So main weaponry, we have 410 millimeter guns. These are about 16-inch guns. We have 2 twin and 2 triple turrets arranged in superfiring positions and a very compact superstructure. So these are all very close together, and she has the same amount of firepower as the ship that precedes her, which is Amagi. So we all know how strong Amagi is, and we still have the same firepower in a more condensed and maneuverable version with Hiraga. These guns are very, very good, and this ship specifically excels in a sniper role, which kind of follows through with all Japanese battleships to a certain degree, but this one specifically, I found that she is very, very good with her sniper capability. So we have 1.92 rounds a minute. Here's all the other stats here. Her armor piercing capabilities are going to be very, very good. And she has a main range of 24.8 kilometers, which is pretty decent. Not as much as Yamato, but still pretty decent nonetheless. And she has a secondary range of 7 kilometers. Now, she actually has a few interesting secondaries. So, in regards to Yamato, we have the twin, or my apologies, the triple 155 millimeter guns that are super firing the main guns here. These fire armor piercing, while the smaller 127s fire high explosive, and a similar kind of setup is found on Hiraga. We have the casemates that fire high velocity armor piercing shells that can actually citadel cruisers. And then we have the 2 turrets on each side here of 6-inch that fire high explosive, but not as fast shell velocity. They come in as more of an arcing shell. These 2 guns up here, they might look like secondaries, but they are not, or at least not that I can tell. These are mainly AA weaponry. So we have the 4 casemate armor piercing secondaries on each side, and we also have 4 barrels of high explosive secondary armament on each side. Not the best secondary armament on a battleship, but like I said, you're going to be at range and in a sniper position. And honestly, those armor piercing secondaries on the casemates are going to be the ones that do the most damage in a secondary duel. Let's see here, speed. So the speed of the ship is actually a little bit slower than Yamato at 26.5 knots, where Yamato goes 27 base speed. But honestly, you don't really notice your speed all that much. Most of the time, I'm just at range, going about half speed, so I can keep a good angle at the target while also not overextending myself. And lastly, she has a fighter you can equip to, well, launch aircraft to intercept enemy aircraft. And her AA defense itself, while the numbers are good, the ranges are not. That doesn't mean you won't be able to shoot down aircraft. There's definitely games I've had where I've shot down a lot of aircraft. That being said, though, you don't really have enough to even protect yourself. You're going to try and use your maneuverability to avoid as much armament as possible. I do have her focus for accuracy, and she equips with a repair and a damage control party, nothing else. And with it, let's toss her into a game and see what we can do. Alright, it looks like we have a pretty decent game today. We have a carrier, we have quite a few battleships, and only a few cruisers, no destroyers. Which is alright, because this ship is not really meant to go against destroyers, at least not in the way that I play her. I'm sure she could definitely be decent with a full high explosive salvo directly against a destroyer, but honestly, like I said, you want to try and stay at range for the majority of your time. Alright, so we actually have a really good map for sniping here. So hopefully we can get enough damage to make it worthy. Let's see what we have. We have a Taiho, an Alsace, Frede de Gros, 2 Yamatos, a Hiraga, a Missouri, a Bismarck, a Minotaur, a Lean, a Takao, and Alaska. Alright, so not bad at all. Okay, so we're going to slow down half speed already because you can clearly see that the enemy team is already in range. Now let's just put up a fighter just in case the carrier becomes frisky here. I don't really expect too much from her right off the bat though. Alright, so let's see what kind of gun angles we have on this ship. Alright, so it looks like we had somewhat decent angles, maybe something like that. Like I said, it doesn't really matter what kind of angle you have. If you aim for the casemate deck, then you're still going to get a ton of damage. Alright, so let's see what we can do against this Alaska, since she's going to give us a nice flat broadside here. Now, full accuracy build, you can see the accuracy of your shells is really, really good. And right off that, we have 4 citadels. We almost sunk that Alaska in 1 salvo, and we hit 8 out of 10 shells. That being said, I think I'm actually going to switch targets here. Let's see, what's a nice target? That Missouri looks pretty inviting. Let's see what we can do against her. Maybe not enough lead, but we can definitely get some damage on the stern, maybe? Nope, we missed. Whatever. Alright, let's see what else we can do. So all this is pretty flat as well. Let's see what we can do here. Yep, 3 more citadels, 62,000 damage. You can clearly see how this is a very, very good sniping battleship. Alright, let's see. Is this Missouri moving? Barely. Actually, let's go for the Lean. Lean is very susceptible to 16-inch shells, so we should be able to do a good amount of damage. But she's also quite fast. We're still able to do 21,000 damage. Alright, looks like we got a little bit of attention from the enemy group, so we're going to actually try and angle ourselves a little bit. But I do see the enemy Hiraga over here. So let's give an example of what this armor is like. So, almost fully broadside Hiraga. And let's see here, full salvo. Yep, Citadel, 24,000 damage, and she's just about sunk at this point. And let's see if we can find another squishy target. A stationary Yamato, that'll definitely be a good target. Let's see what we can do. The Alaska is actually still alive, I think. Nope, Alaska went down. Right, so no citadels, but still quite a big chunk of damage. And the Missouri is actually fully broadside now as well. And Frede de Gros is firing high explosive at the carrier. Okay, I thought she was firing at me for a second. I was very confused confused why she was using high explosive. Alright, fully broadside, Missouri, almost full health. Let's see what we can do. Alright, so a decent amount of damage, about 36,000. So you can clearly see how you just stay at range and punish broadsides, because even here, everything on the enemy team is in range. And I'm actually going to see what I can do against this Yama again, considering Missouri is having a nice little secondary brawl with a, looks like another Federated Ghost, maybe? Regardless, she's burning. She doesn't need my help right now. Almost 25,000 on the other Yamato. And even though I've been shot at, I've taken a little bit of damage, about 12,000, but really not that much. Alright, so we've shot at a few things that can be citadeled easily, but after this salvo, I think we're going to try and shoot the Fred de Gross to get some nice pen damage. I could be focusing down these targets and eliminating them one by one, but I kind of just want to see how much damage I can do over time and let them heal a little bit. Alright, so we're going to slow down to about a quarter here to keep everything in range. Fred de Gross is not really moving all that much, so we can just take our time. We're actually losing this game right now, but that's fine. 25,000 damage, so continuous salvos of just 25,000 damage. And it looks like the Taiho is going to be a problem if we let her live any longer. So let's see what we can do at range. I think that should be enough. Let's see if we can snipe her from here. Maybe not enough lead. A little more, but it still did a Citadel for almost 25,000 damage. And she is turning away. Something like that, maybe? Alright, either way, we're going to focus back on the battleships here, as the carrier will be out of range momentarily, but let's see what this last salvo can do. Looks like she did turn back in, so I think we're going to miss. Yep, we missed. But it was still relatively close with all of our shells. Alright, time to clean up some of these stragglers. So the Missouri is still alive, Alzis is still alive, all these are still alive, but Alzis is pretty much stationary. So let's see if we can finish some of these off. Another Citadel, 27,000 damage. You can see how continuous and consecutive all these damages are. It's not just once in a while, it's pretty much every single salvo. Yamato is trying to heal. Actually, let's see if we can just finish off all of this right now first. Not enough lead, but I think we should be able to get her even with just straight over pens. Oh, almost. Alright, what's Missouri doing? Missouri is just chilling. Alright, cool. Right, let's give a little bit more lead towards this Alzis and finish her off. We need to start taking out targets. And you know what? Let's... I kind of want to show off the secondaries, but I kind of don't. Maybe we can rush the carrier afterwards. Actually, never mind. There won't be a carrier. Alright, Yamato's pretty broadside. But this one's going to give us a better broadside in a moment if we just wait a little bit. And carrier is down. That just leaves these three battleships. Let's see what we can do. Not that much, actually. That was a pretty disappointing salvo. Might as well use a heal, considering there's only a few targets left. Though we are being shot at now. Guess we can start reversing. Not a lot of damage there either, but that's alright. Looks like... Actually, which target is the carrier going for? Oh, it's going for the Missouri. Well, we can help with that. And this Yamato should give us a good broadside in a moment. Though I think I want to finish off this one first. That should finish her off. And that leaves this Yamato. Ooh. Less than 200 health she survived on. If she didn't have her heal activated, she would have been sunk. But I think the carrier has her now. So now we just have to wait for this Yamato to turn. There goes the other Yamato. And let's see what we can do. Straight through the nose. Let's see if we can get a Citadel. Ah, 3 ricochets. Alright. So it looks for it instead. Might as well use another heal. I think we're going to be the ones that are going to be shot at. No, actually, no. It might be the carrier. Regardless, it doesn't matter. We're still going to shoot you. I aim a little higher for the superstructure, and it goes through the deck for 4 pens for almost 10,000 damage. I think I have quite a bit of damage in this game. I'm not quite sure what my record is, but I did play with this ship yesterday, and I had about 278,000 damage. But I think I have even more today. Alright, you know what? Let's go in a little bit closer. Let's try and use our secondaries. I think she should survive. Until then... well, not anymore. And there we go. Alright, so pretty decent game to show you how she is in a sniper configuration. Let's see how we did. 414,000 damage, 2 ships sunk, 150 shell hits, 13 citadels, 1 module destroyed, and 8 secondary hits. So we did have some secondary damage. Not that it really did anything, but yeah, 414,500 damage. Yeah, this ship is very clearly a good sniper, as you can tell. And like I said, if you stay at range, your small size also helps that because you're a harder target to hit. But your broadside armor is fairly weak. Your AA, you can shoot down aircraft, but you're not going to shoot down a lot of aircraft. And your secondaries, really, your armor-piercing ones are only going to do damage. So yeah, try and do your best to stay at range. And your range itself for your main guns pretty much encompasses the entire map if you get in the right spot. So you don't even have to move that much. With that, I will wrap up today's video. If you liked the video, make sure you like and subscribe. And join me tomorrow while we go over the largest Japanese battleship we have in the game, which is Omi, or as I have renamed her, Shinomi. So again, thank you and take care.